We're back in Up North at 4, and I am honored to be joined by Senator Janet Bewley. She is the leader of the minority party in the state assembly. She's been in the legislature since 2010. Janet, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. It's great to be here.
Well, Senator Bewley, you announced that you will not be seeking re-election in 2022. Why'd you decide that?
Well, it was something that I sort of considered when I first ran. There's always this push-pull of staying in and doing something because you think you're good at it, or you really, really enjoy it and keep doing it, or holding back and ending when you think you should, so that younger people can come along and fill in a role with fresh ideas. I kind of struck a balance, so this will be 12 years. If I was younger, I would go on for another term, if not two. But if I were to run, I would have been 75 when I got out. So I'm going to hold with what we agreed to. So.
Well, what do you feel like you've accomplished in your 12 years?
Well, you know, the sense of accomplishment in the minority is a very different thing when you're in the majority. So when I first came in, my goal was to turn that into being in the majority, and of course that didn't happen. So you have to figure out how to stay relevant, because I represent just as many people as any Republican, and the folks that I represent are just as important as those in a Republican district. So you keep your values strong and clear, and you do everything you can to play defense, to keep the bills that are most what I felt were damaging to my constituents at bay, and to be as good as I can at constituent services, helping them with their personal dealings with the state government.
Yeah, we need a picture up there on the screen showing your Senate district, the largest in the state, stretching from Superior to Lac du Flambeau here.
It's gigantic, about the size of Connecticut, I've heard. But
so in 2010, you came in a very Republican year. That was when the Tea Party kind of rose up across the country. Has the political discourse in your mind gotten more and more divisive in your time since you joined the legislature?
It has. Unfortunately, it has. And of course, it came to a head with President Trump, unfortunately. I think that he gave people a pivoting point where you're either for him or you're against him. And there was no room to be kind of in between. And that forced people into their corners, I'm afraid. But on the personal level, and that is where good communication really exists. On the personal level, if you want to be civil to someone, and if you want to get something done, you can. You're going to have small rewards that gain momentum, but that was something that I specifically chose to do. And I worked very well with certain members of the majority, including Jerry Petrowski. I think very, very highly of that man. I wish him well in his retirement.
I was going to say he's retiring as well. Do you think politics is attracting more divisive people with fiery rhetoric, or not necessarily?
Well, I think that it's a matter of what they feel they should be doing when they're campaigning, and should that mirror what they're going to be like when they're in office. A lot of times people go out guns blazing in a campaign, and then they become the most meek and mild people on the floor that you've ever met. And then other times it's the complete opposite, and people think that's not what we voted for. So I think that the most important thing is that people be honest.
Okay.
Be who you are on the trail, the same person as the one who sits in the seat.
Well, Senator, I want to take a quick break, and after the break, I think we should talk about the Park Falls Mill. Park Falls is in your Senate district, and what happened to that mill. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Welcome to today's Elite Money Minute with the Elite Advisor Team.
Hey, that's all right. Let's try one more time. You look a little rusty. Now this time, instead of aiming at the pins, let's aim at the arrows during your approach. That always seems to help me. Come on.
Wow, that really helped. I guess sometimes you need a new perspective on how to do things to create success.
Nice job.
Hey guys, it's no different than how we help our clients plan for retirement. Just because you made it to retirement doesn't mean things won't change. Many times you can benefit from a new perspective.
If you would like us to give you a new perspective on your retirement, give our office a call at 715-341-8899 and schedule a visit today. Or request a free copy of our book, Retirement, Be Prepared.
That's today's Elite Money Minute. Visit our website at retireidea.com.
Dairy farms disappearing, prices up, COVID's still not gone. And what's Ron Johnson done? Voted against new jobs and told us to take mouthwash to cure COVID. I'm Sarah Godlewski. I grew up in Eau Claire where we're more interested in common sense than conspiracies. That's how I've run the state treasurer's office, and common sense is what, quite frankly, we could use in Washington. Practical ideas that just help people, not mouthwash. I'm Sarah Godlewski, and that's why I approve this message.
Did you know a vented dirt crawl space is unhealthy for you and your home? Did you know it makes your home harder to heat and cool? A vented dirt crawl space is a breeding ground for mold and critters, and it affects the air quality of your entire home. Let SureDry protect your home. When it comes to crawl spaces, nobody does it better. SureDry will transform your crawl space into a dry, usable space to make your entire home healthier. Call SureDry today.
Back here with Senator Bewley from Mason and Bayfield County. So Senator Bewley, over the past couple of years, we've seen the Park Falls Mill close, reopen, close, and it seems like this time it's closed for good. I know there were bills in the Assembly and Senate to reinvigorate the mill, but it just didn't happen. Why didn't it happen?
Well, that's a classic example of if you want to get something done, you have to do it correctly. And the versions of the bills that were up included Park Falls along with the mills in Wisconsin Rapids, which was a very heavy lift. That's a lot of money. And I had tried very hard to separate the two so that we could have one just for Park Falls and one for, but that didn't happen. They weren't willing to write two bills. So in a way, Park Falls went right down with the bigger ship. I know also that it has had a rocky history for a long time. It changed ownership. Oh gosh, that was a long time ago. A man by the name of Butch Johnson owned it. And it's been struggling to find the right products to make, to keep its equipment up to date, and I do want to say that they did everything they could to keep that equipment going, but it just didn't have that critical mass that it needed to turn itself into the kind of manufacturer of what was in demand today.
We only have less than a minute left here, Senator. Is there anything that you'd like to impart on people, any wisdom you gained in your 10+ years in the Wisconsin legislature?
You have to be willing to get along. You have to keep your eye on the prize, be honest, do the best you can, and realize that people are always going to disagree. Within the Democratic Party, we have Democrats representing very different constituents. The same thing happens on the national level. Democrats can often disagree with each other. But it's the disagreement and the ability to work through that gets to the best solutions. So I have a lot of faith in our system.
Well, congratulations on your retirement, Senator Bewley, and thanks so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.